Was there any guilt around that? Leaving
There was
medicine?
a lot of guilt around it. Like throughout the pandemic, when I quit clinical medicine, the traditional, and then integrative, I believe the integrative practice also came around with that guilt. I really think at my core, I didn't want to do it. And that's why I would never market it. And I would
Mm,
keep on doing the real estate gig. And it started to give me results, and I'll do more and more of that. I had two life coaches. And I think the main issue was this: I don't know why. I love medicine. I want to continue to do medicine. But when it comes to action taking, my whole day goes in the real estate, not in medicine. And that's when they introduced this idea: what if you just don't expect anything out of it? If you're doing something each day, just keep on taking it that way. And there were a few instances when a lot of my friends who had met in the virtual world after the pandemic, we started to meet face to face, and they started to say or notice that it seems like you get very excited when you talk about land investing, but I don't notice that excitement in the integrative space, which was something which was eye opening for me, which made me go back and rethink, why is that? Or is that even true? And then I realized that, yeah, I do really feel a lot more passionate about plant investing now, that integrative medicine. And that was eye opener for me.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see that a lot in the families that we work with. So I can't remember how much we talked about it, but my day job, we work with families, physician families in their with their finances, and you know how finances get into everything. But like you can see, it's hard sometimes to identify these things yourself. Really hard.
Yeah.
And so as like the third party that kind of like knows all the stuff, we really oftentimes will see these things where like, man, you just don't seem very excited about this thing, or you get really excited about when you talk about this kind of thing. That's always such a great
Mhm.
indicator of which direction you should go. It's
Yeah.
also like an indicator of burnout. And if you're just dreading something, it's scary how many families we work with that are just like dreading their work, and that's no good. Like I don't want my physician to dread their work. That's scary and
Yeah.
on multiple levels. But then when you're excited, that's like where you get the passion and you can really knock it out of the park. You have to be willing to, because it's really hard. It sounds like you didn't quite self-diagnose that exactly.
No, I didn't. But one other thing, you're right, like, on the same pod, when I decided, like, in January, I was like, you know what? Let me look at some PRN job opportunities. And I was working at the hospitals before. That meant my shifts were going to be 12-hour shifts. And then I started to interview at some places. And then I started to imagine how it would feel to wake up at 5 o'clock, get ready and leave at 6 o'clock, and then be at work all day and come back at around 7:30. Gosh, I couldn't just digest that. I was like, I don't want to be in that situation. I just don't want that. Like, I really do not like that. So coming from both places, when other people started telling me, hey, you seem to get too excited when you talk about land investing. And I realized that I'm not too excited about these PRN opportunities at all. And
Mhm.
that's when it was just so clear. I was like, even though I have worked so hard for medicine, but it's just so clear as day and night that I do not, even though I love that clinical part of the patient and doctor relationship, but again, it's just no way possible other than me practicing on my own terms, which I don't have time for right now.
The other thing is when your time was so scarce, it's almost compounds it, I think, when the time is limited to be able to self-diagnose things on top of the fact that you don't even have any time to like look
Yeah.
for opportunities or
Oh,
whatever.
yes.
It makes you almost more stuck when you're so
Hmm.
that's the challenge is you get in these you were in hospitals, right?
That was my last job.
Yeah, so that's like all in and then you got nothing left in the tank when you get home. So it's like how do you make a big shift if it's
Mhm.
burning you out when you have no gas
Yeah.
left in the tank? You had some outside things that prompted you to make that shift or you were able to take some part-time gigs and that kind of thing. Was your shift a little bit slower?
It was very slow, as slow as I could have,
Mhm.
because I definitely wanted to give myself enough time to think. So between jobs, I had taken some time off. I was a nighttime nocturnist before, then hospitalist, even though I was part time. So I know for physicians, when anybody's working full time all the time, they don't have time at all.
Mm.
But since I had taken breaks in between jobs, I was taking part time jobs. So I had like 1 week of a lot of work, 80 plus hours of work, but 3 weeks were off. I did have a little bit of time, way more than compared to anyone else would have, to ponder and go through that and create a plan which worked for me and my needs and our family. It
Mm.
was very personalized thing. It's very hard to have these kind of conversations of pivoting, especially in the physician world, because it's just so hard to get into. And even that thought, nobody entertains to leave or have life on your terms. Nobody entertains that thought for long enough.
Yeah, it's like you don't have anybody to talk to,
Yeah.
and it's difficult to figure out yourself when
Yeah.
you're just talking to yourself or
Yeah.
Googling online or
Yes.
whatever. So who did you talk to about it? Who were some of the people that you were able to talk to? Because I mean, like I can imagine, your spouse or close friends, but like the challenge there is like maybe they don't have the expertise exactly, or like your certain relationships are your yes people, like they just try to build you up.
So
But
it was very slow transition, and I was just being open to the idea that I could be somebody who is not practicing traditional medicine in the virtual world, just being an physician entrepreneur. And I really think not necessarily talking to somebody, but seeing different role models during this pandemic when we were not able to meet in person, but there were multiple virtual groups out there where I could see and connect virtually with a lot of other physician entrepreneurs
mhm,
who were not necessarily leaving the medicine per se right away, but we're starting the side gigs, we're being more successful, we're able to cut down their hours at their clinical role. I really think that was something which made it possible for me to even think that that's a possibility for me. And after seeing that, I was just open to that idea. It took a long time to think that, oh, okay, it's good for them. Like they were
mhm,
able to do it. It's not going to be possible for me. But after just seeing different examples again and again in different arena, even though nobody was in land investing, but other kind of investment or
yeah.
even non-investing, other things. So I was like, you know what? If they can do it, then all I have to do is just persist and continue to practice what I know. Time is what is going to compound things. And that's what was motivational for me so that I could just pursue this.
Yeah, it was like a
Yes,
mindset
it was way more
shift.
than a mindset. It was not like a day decision where I decided, "Oh, I'm gonna be investor." No, it
Tomorrow.
was it was a very slow transition, which I
Right,
could take. It was not a overnight. I wish it was overnight. Then
right.
it would have saved me that many years of pain and agony, and then not knowing what should I do? Should I even leave medicine? But why? These kind of things. But I'm glad that I went through that process, and now I feel very comfortable and at ease of whatever choices I've made in my life.